Hello my fellow chef knives enthusiasts. Today I'm going to show you my Nigara Anmon Damascus Usuba 165mm made of Aogami No. 2, heat treated to a 63 HRC, handmade by master bladesmith Tsuyoshi Yoshizawa, and a handle made from ebony wood with a ferrule of black buffalo horn. Nigara Anmon is a respected name in sword and knife making. Tsuyoshi Yoshizawa is the 8th generation bladesmith of a family business with 350 years of history. You rarely get much more experience, skill and devotion going into a blade. I already did a video on my Nigara troll killer Gyuto, a Nigara Anmon Yanagiba, Rainbow Damascus Kiritsuke, and a Nigara troll killer Mount Fuji Sakimaru. In those videos I also go a little bit more in depth about the house of Nigara, but in this video I'll just go straight to the knife. I always like this moment of anticipation, seeing just the handle with the blade still covered up. This octagonal handle looks solid and premium. Very nice and very dark ebony wood with a black buffalo horn ferrule. Now let's undress this baby completely and go to the full Monty. Wow, yo! Look at that! Wowie wee wow! I knew this Anmon Damascus is beautiful because I already made a video with that Anmon Yanagiba, but this was not my knife. This one is. This is actually my knife. It's mine! Mine! What can I say? This spectacular single bevel Usuba from Nigara Anmon's flagship Anmon series is making a hell of a first impression on me. Have you ever seen an Usuba like this? I mean, I love the migaki and mirror polished look of most Usuba and single bevel knives out there, but come on. The style and look of this blade is just out of this world. This is just unbelievably good looking. Oh wow! The sound that you just heard was my testicles falling on the floor right next to my jaw. I love the backside of this Usuba so much. The dark urasuki, which is the concave side of the backside of the blade, and then seeing the Damascus wrapping around the spine with the kanji on top of it. You don't see that often on a single bevel knife. I think I've only seen this on Nigara single bevel knives. I really love how Nigara lets the incredible unique Damascus steel wrap around the spine and even extend to the backside of almost all their single bevel knives. I've seen Nigara Yanagibas, Sakimarus, and Tebas with the same thing happening. This is adding aesthetic value and thus makes these knives look so highly desirable. If anyone happens to know other makers and brands doing this on single bevel knives, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to take a look at them because I find it so sexy. Boy, at this moment I don't even know which side of the blade I like more. Whoever came up with the saying beauty comes from the inside clearly was not talking about this knife. This knife is also a one-of-a-kind due to the different patterns and finishes in the Anmon range. So there is no other Nigara Anmon Usuba knife out there with a Damascus pattern that looks exactly like mine. They are all slightly different, thus unique like a snowflake. I love that type of shit. The balance and comfort of this knife seems to be on a high level as well. It feels really light and nimble in the hand, nice little short blade, tall enough for good knuckle clearance, gorgeous quite thick spine as well, perfectly straight, no taper like you expect on an Usuba. I also love the subtle look of the excellent quality ebony and white buffalo horn handle. It doesn't draw too much attention from the blade, but if you look closely to the handle you can easily tell it is a solid made handle and pairs with this particular blade really well in my humble opinion. Definitely not a handle that I will replace for a custom handle. Good stuff! Will this Nigara Anmon Usuba pass the cat test though? Our human senses are very primitive and especially our eyes can deceive us very easily. Everybody knows that. So if this knife is anything less than amazing, my cat will smell that from a mile away. This little fixin came impressively sharp right out of the box. I probably should expect nothing less since we're talking about the highest level flagship knives in the Anmon range. I didn't do anything to the edge, no sharpening, no stropping, no nothing. So this is straight out of the box cutting action. Whoa! This thing is sharp. I almost forgot this is a single bevel knife and thus much sharper by default than any double bevel knife. This is the first time for me using an Usuba, and boy, it was exciting to say the least. The performance of this knife is insane. It's so sharp. Did you see that? I was expecting to have trouble with adapting to the cutting feel of a single bevel knife. Since it's only ground in one angle on one side, it will steer itself to the left for a right-hander and for a lefty the other side, of course. But with cutting small and thin produce like a chili pepper or a scallion, you hardly notice this at all. Better yet, the only thing I noticed that it just flies through anything I cut. Now, how am I supposed to get back to using my nakaris at all? I mean, once you go single bevel, you never go back to a lower level, right? No, I still love these guys. I can imagine me doing anything I do with my nakari knives with this Usuba and then some. The sharpness of a single bevel knife is truly superior to a double bevel knife. I know that now from personal experience. I've read it and heard it many times before, but there's only one way to really know, right? And that is by using a single bevel knife and find out firsthand. The one thing that you'll have to try to do with an Usuba is the Katsuramuki technique. Here goes nothing. Katsuramuki is one of the most difficult yet essential techniques during apprenticeships. Young chefs must master this and other knife techniques on vegetables before ever touching a fish. Katsuramuki refers to the cutting technique that creates long, thin sheets from cylindrical vegetables. The key is to use a thin, flat knife held firmly in one hand with the other hand guiding the vegetable using the underside of the thumb. This technique is most commonly used with daikon and cucumber, but the idea can be applied to other vegetables such as a carrot or eggplant. While this skill takes a lot of time to master, the end result is a sheet of vegetable that's almost sheer. These sheets can be used as garnish when cut into strips, which is the ken cutting technique. So as you can see, this is no joke. It will take me a long while of practice to master this technique for sure. I actually think I didn't do a complete horrible job for a first try though. I actually was able to cut a sheet looking piece of cucumber. It was definitely not as thin as a true Katsuramuki master can do, but yeah. For now, I'll stick to cutting a cucumber like this. The straight edge of an Usuba lends itself to accurate push cut and chop on the board. Paper thin slices should be no problem. The white blade also provides good guidance along the finger knuckles. Now it is time for the cat staring test. I didn't see the Nigara Anmon Usuba flinch at all, so it just passed another important test. Aogami number 2 is a reactive steel, but it's easy to look after if you care about your knife at all. Just keep it dry and clean during and especially after use. You know, baby it. It's a work of art that deserves the right amount of attention and care from the user. To me it feels kind of therapeutic to care and maintain all of my artisan knives. I honor and respect the makers of my knives that way as well. But even though I babied this knife like the next high carbon steel knife in my collection, this knife developed a patina super fast. I actually really like a patina on my carbon knives though. Even on a gorgeous Damascus pattern like this. To me a patina gives a knife more character and makes this unique Usuba even more unique. Look at that orange patina. It's just beautiful. I just have to make sure it's not going to turn into rust. The patina on a blade is like a cutting board diary. It tells the story of the way you used your knife and what kind of produce you've cut with it. Some produce will create a bluish patina, some other produce will create a grayish patina. It's all good to me. Okay. Here's the mandatory choil shot before I get all these choil shot Nazis after me. Yep, that's clearly a single bevel knife. Here, I also drop a headshot for you choil shot junkies. What is an Usuba knife? How is it used, and why would you want one? Whether your goal is to become an experienced chef or merely to eat better at home, working with the right tools is a necessity. In the kitchen, there are no instruments more important than a real sharp knife. And there is no culinary scene in the world that places more importance on quality cutting knives than Japanese cuisine. If only there were a perfect knife for cutting vegetables. That would really be something. Just imagine a knife specifically designed for chopping, slicing, peeling and breaking down veggies like the kitchen samurai you aspire to be. I guess you see where I'm going with this. Behold, the Usuba, the master of fine vegetable garnish. The literal translation of Usuba is thin blade. Usui is Japanese for thin. Ba is derived from ha, as in hamono, which means blade or edged tool. The Usuba is almost always a kataba or single bevel blade. This gives the Usuba its signature sharp edge. The single bevel edge means that food can be sliced even thinner and cleaner than with a double bevel knife. But extra training is required to master the art of cutting straight while controlling the natural steer of a blade, which is only sharpened on one side. It takes a little bit of practice to learn to control it. In Japan, you're more likely to see an Usuba in the hands of a professional chef than in daily use in the home. Along with the deba and yanagiba, it's one of the three main knives used in a Japanese commercial kitchen. Professional Japanese chefs often favor this shape due to its extraordinary performance. The edge on this guy is insanely sharp, making it the tool of choice for slicing veggies very thinly and with great precision. That said, you want to keep this fine blade away from very hard veggies. It can chip or break very easily. If you plan to sharpen this knife yourself, take a heed because of the way single bevel knives are designed. You don't sharpen it like a double bevel knife. Sharpening an Usuba requires practice, and it's fair to say that I do not find the single bevel Usuba easy to sharpen well on a whetstone. This is my first Usuba, so I have little to no experience sharpening one. Back to YouTube class, I guess. When Japanese people prepare vegetables, they do so to eat them with chopsticks. That means a lot of slicing, dicing and chopping. Cut veggies with a dull knife and you're going to end up smashing and squishing all your precious life-sustaining fuel into a puddle of sad tears from your ancestors. So, should you buy an Usuba knife? Let's say you're a knife enthusiast. You're after heft, superior sharpness and cutting feel. You wish to master Japanese cuisine and are looking for the tool that is best suited to often used cutting techniques. You're also willing to adapt to a traditional handle and blade. Sharpening a single bevel knife isn't an issue. You know what you're doing there. For you, an Usuba may be the right choice. If you're not cutting vegetables typical to Japanese cuisine, a more versatile and suitable option for cutting vegetables could be the gyuto or the nakiri or a santoku. Luckily, I got a much friendlier price for this one than it was listed for. I mean, €575 is a lot of money if you are not Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. And in case you didn't know, every single one of us, including me, except Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, are not Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. So, I'm aware that this Nigara Anmon Usuba or any other Nigara Anmon knife is a significant investment. I for one think hard about which knife I want to add to my collection and why. And I'm always looking for the best. At this level of craft and quality, you're going beyond just buying a knife because it's a quality blade. The Nigara Anmon knives are collector's pieces. The combination of being extremely limited, being distinctly beautiful, and being exceptional performing knives makes these Nigara Anmon knives irresistible to me personally. So when I did receive enough of that extra coin, I immediately purchased this Nigara Anmon Damascus Usuba.